Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Toybox, and as you can see, I am back. After over a month, I am back making videos again. I'm going to try to keep a somewhat consistent schedule and maybe upload more often than I used to. Because every time I'm on break, I don't upload a video, I always feel so bad, but anyway, I digress. The main topic of this video is coming out as a furry to your friends and your family. Now, obviously, coming out as a furry is not something that's super easy to do, and it does have its cons with it, with there being a lot of stereotypes, like being a zoophile, being a pedophile, all that sort of stuff. That's not fun to deal with. But I want to go over how you can go about coming out as a furry and just stuff related to that. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Coming out as a furry, as I said before, is not something easy to do. There's a lot of cons with it, and you kind of have to realize those cons. Those cons being, people will think that you're a zoophile, people will think that you're a pedophile, that you're only interested in it for sex, which some people are into being a furry for sex, and I see all the power to them as long as they're not doing anything illegal. That is where I draw the line. If you're just doing it to have fun, do your thing. Why should anyone else care? Why should you be bothered by it? But if you're more of like a younger child and you come across furries, I will say be careful, because there is a lot of stuff out there that you can see. Back to the coming out part. You do not have to come out as a furry to your friends or family. That is a choice that is up to you, and when you decide to do it is also up to you. There's no time limit for it, or really any limit for it at all. You can keep it secret, you can, be outward with it and flaunt it like I do, which I know isn't a safe thing to do, but people ask I'm a furry in public, I'm gonna say yes, I am. But you do not have to come out to your friends or family if you do not desire to. How can you come about coming out to them? Well, you could do the old casual, hey mom and dad, there's something I want to tell you, hey friends, there's something I want to tell you, and just have a nice sit down talk with them. But before you do any of that, what I would do is try and see their opinions and their views on furries as a whole. If their views aren't positive views, then I would suggest that maybe you don't tell them, or maybe that if you do decide, you wait a bit. If their views are good, then have the sit down talk with them, say, hey, I need to sit down and talk with you guys, and then kind of like, I don't know, segue into it, I guess, if you can. Or if you want to be blunt with it as well. But I would say get their viewpoints on it before you come out as a furry to people. And obviously coming out as a furry is not the same as coming out as LGBT. They're completely different things. A furry is not a sexuality. It is a personal choice. LGBT is not a personal choice, it's just how we were born. So keep in mind that although it isn't the same as coming out as LGBT, there are still cons with it, and again, be aware of those cons. It's not fun to come out as a furry when your parents don't really know that much about furries. And if they don't know much about furries, I would try and introduce it to them leading up to you coming out to them. Talk to them about it, talk to them about the pros and cons of it, talk about why you are interested in being a furry, and that might help them understand better. And even if they don't fully understand, if they're okay with it, fine, come out to them. I'm sure that they, as long as you tell them not to tell anyone else. Also, one thing I'd recommend is coming out as a furry. If your parents are ones to kind of check your phone quite often, or at all, I would be cautious if you looked up any furry stuff, because if they check your phone and see all that, they're most likely going to have more negative views on furries. In fact, that is what happened with my mother when I tried to tell her that I was a furry. I won't lie, I'll be completely honest and open. I was looking up stuff, who has an E61 Rule 34, whatever. She checked my phone and tablet and saw that stuff, which caused her to have a more negative reaction towards furries and further proved her point that all furries were interested in sex. Which, again, I'm sure that the number of people who enjoy being a furry for sex, I'm sure that percentage has increased over the years, but you can't just take something that a majority or minority do and apply it to an entire group. That is one thing I will not stand for. You can't look at one thing and say, oh, well, these furries are having sex, so every furry must be having sex. That is not true in the slightest. But again, coming out to your parents or your friends, not something super easy to do, but if you desire to tell your friends or family that you are a furry, again, try and see their viewpoints on it, if they're positive or negative. If your friends or family don't really know much about furries, try to explain it to them in a way that they might understand, or to the best of your abilities, and see what their viewpoints on it are after you tell them. So, yeah, if you want to come on as a furry, come on as a furry. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. No one's going to judge you. And if they do, they're probably sad and lonely. But with all that being said, I hope that you all have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening.